Fala galera, bem-vindos a mais um Sonoridades. A entrevista de hoje é internacional, especialíssima com Richie Faulkner, guitarrista do Judas Priest e Elegant Weapons, que acabou de sair o disco agora recentemente. A banda teve o Scott Travis na bateria, o Rex Brown tocando baixo, e agora tem o baterista do Accept, o Christopher Williams, tem o baixista do Uriah Heep e tem o Rony Romero na voz. Todo mundo acha que é próximo do Jill, mas o cara canta pra caramba. A gente fala de muitas coisas, fala do disco do Elegant Weapons, de Inteligência Artificial, do estado de saúde do Richie e também do Judas Priest. Então confere, curta, compartilhe e fica ligado que vamos ter sempre atualizações aqui no Sonoridades, tá bom? Um grande abraço. So Richie, thanks so much for your interview, for this time to talk with you.
It's a pleasure to be here, brother.
And let's talk about Elegant Weapons. I heard the songs that were released. There's a new album coming out 26, I suppose. So what can you say about the album, the conception of the album, the production?
Well, it's an album that I think contains a lot of my influences as a guitar player. You know, that's all I can do. It's who I am, man. You know, there's Ozzy Osbourne in there, there's Black Sabbath in there, there's Priest in there, there's UFO in there, there's Thin Lizzy. It's who I am as a guitar player, you know. So I write songs that are inspired by these bands and play guitar inspired by the guitar players of those bands. So that's what it is. But it's an album that's produced in 2023. So it's a modern sounding album, but it contains all those influences that are, you know, that we know and love. I know you do too. So that's what it is, really. That's what it is in a nutshell. And it's got some great people in the band. You know, I've got friends of mine, Davey Rimmer from Uriah Heep. I've got Christopher Williams from Accept, and I've got Ronnie Romero from Rainbow. And I've got Rex Brown from Pantera and Scott Travis from Judas Priest on the record. They recorded the record for me. So I think it's a really strong record, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it.
And the two singles are a hit, are a blast. I mean, people who heard it love it. The reception of the media was, I think, superb. So how do you see this reception?
That's really nice of you to say. Yeah, we were really taken aback with the response of the videos and the singles, really. When you put something new out, you know, you never know how it's going to connect with people or if it's going to connect at all. So all you can do is do your best, put your best performance, your best songs, and put it out there. And then the people decide, really. And we, as you said, it connected really well. We've got one more single coming out on the release day of the record. So yeah, we were really surprised and really grateful for the reaction of the people with the songs. And we're looking forward to taking it live as well. We're going live, you know, playing live as a band. We're looking forward to connecting with the fans on that level as well. Hopefully we're going to come down to Brazil. We're going out to Europe in June and July. Hopefully we can come down to South America and play some shows for you guys and girls as well. So we're looking forward to that.
Walking a fine line, floated by this side, between the black, white and gray. Suspicious motives, mobbing unnoticed, morality's masquerade. Can you confess your sins to your maker?
And this album you have Andy Sneap as a producer.
It does, the great Andy Sneap. I mean, for me, it was obvious to get Andy in as a producer. He's the same as me, man. He grew up on the same music that I did, but he's a producer in the modern age in 2023. So again, I wanted it to sound like a record in 2023, but I wanted those influences to be loud and proud. You know, I'm not ashamed of those influences, and I think they need to be heard. So it was a perfect marriage, I think, between the band and the producer to get those influences heard in 2023.
And he plays with you on Judas also. And he
that helps, you know. Me and Andy talk all like on a daily basis. We talk about bands, we talk about Priest, we talk about Elegant Weapons, we talk about guitars and amplifiers. We talk about all sorts of nonsense. So he's a friend as well as someone I work with, you know, in that level. So it's important that you've got someone that you can trust to make decisions with you. You know, can you do it? You know, he'll tell you that you can do a better take or that's not good enough, but he'll also tell you that's great. So you can trust him either way. So it's good to have someone like that in your team.
And the most interesting thing I heard everybody says about Andy is that since he plays guitar, he understands the sound of guitar. He says, "Play, just play."
Yeah, I mean, you know, Andy on many levels, he's got a producer's brain, so he understands sound. He's an engineer as well, so he understands sound like nobody else. Like for me, I it's hard for me to translate what I'm hearing. I know what I need to hear, but I can't translate that. Andy knows exactly what it's like. Neo in the Matrix. He can see numbers. You know, he hears numbers and he knows the frequency. He knows what to change to get those sounds that he needs. So he's very like mathematical and technical in that regard. So he's great to have again in your corner if you need something on a record or live. I need some more cut or I need some more balls, you know, whatever it might be. See, even now I'm not translating it very well, but he can turn those words into actual sonic changes. So he's great to have on your side.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Since you talk about modern sound, like Elegant Weapons was produced in 2023, we have the old-fashioned kind of producing, but with a modern clothes. I mean, how do you see these modern music made by AI?
That's a great question. I think AI can only simulate what we give it. So, and I think that will always be the case. I think it can always do a representation of what we do, and it will do it well, and it will be amazing what AI can do. But again, it works within the confines of what we do creatively, and then copies that. So I think that's the difference between AI and humans. I could be completely wrong, and in 10 years it will be like Terminator 2 Judgment Day and the machines have taken over. I could be completely wrong, but to me, I just think AI works within the confines that we give it creatively. So hopefully that always stays the same, and we always have a need for that human creativity.
On the other hand, we have the explosion of vinyl nowadays. So how do you see this old-fashioned kind of production like vinyl and this modern sound like digital music like streaming, Spotify, besides AI?
Well, I think you know, when something goes away like vinyl for so many years, I think there's a generation of people that grow up without it, and they grow up and they get used to consuming music in a different way. They consume it as an MP3, and it's on a file on a MP3 player on earphones or whatever it is. You bring vinyl back, and it's a new experience. So it's something tangible. It's something, you know, it's a whole different experience, and whether you like it or you don't, it's a different one to these people that have grown up without it. So it's like AC/DC. If you are a 20-year-old and you've never heard AC/DC before, you're going to think that's new, and it's like the greatest thing ever. And you've discovered a new band called AC/DC. You haven't. It's just you haven't heard it. You haven't grown up with it. I think it's the same kind of experience. So if you're discovering vinyl for the first time, it's a new experience. It's something. It's a 12 by 12 piece of artwork, and it's a booklet, and it's this thing that you put on, and you put a needle on it. And it's a whole different experience. So I think that has something to do with it. Again, I could be completely wrong, but I think that definitely has something to do with the vinyl experience taking off again.
Yeah, and since we talk about the vinyl experience, would we have Elegant Weapons released on vinyl?
Definitely, yeah. I think it was important for us as a band to release the record on vinyl as part of the release. You know, the thing with vinyl these days is everyone wants to release it, so it's kind of backed up a little bit. It takes longer to produce because everyone's in a waiting line, like in a queue, to actually make the vinyl. So, but it was important for us to wait to get the vinyl done to release with the record, because we know that, you know, a lot of our fans, both young and old, are going to appreciate that experience. You know, with the artwork and the actual vinyl, when you put it on, you put the needle on, and you step back and listen to the album as it was intended. I think people do appreciate that from before when they experienced it, or as I said, as newer fans, they might not have experienced that before, and it might be a new thing for them. So it was important for us to include that as part of the release, for sure.
And it's a collector's thing. I mean, people see vinyl as a collection.
Definitely. I mean, even if you put, you know, some people put like a download code or a streaming code, you know, in with the vinyl release. But, you know, even if you don't have a vinyl player, people still get the vinyl. You can put it. It's a thing. It's almost like a picture. You can put it in a frame, put it on the wall. It's a collectible thing. So so yeah, I think it's a big part of. Well, it is a big part. It's a growing part of consumable music these days.
And talking back about Elegant Weapons, you have Ronnie Romero singing. It's a outstanding singer. How came him? How he came up to the band?
Well, you're absolutely right. He is an outstanding singer. I was talking, you know, I was looking for a singer, and I needed a singer that could not only sing, but could carry the band, you know, a front man that could carry the band at the level that I feel like it deserves to be carried at, you know. I was talking to Damon Johnson, who was playing in Thin Lizzy, and he now plays with Lynyrd Skynyrd. He played with Black Star Riders, and I was talking to Damon about, you know, who could I get as a singer, and he mentioned Richie Blackmore's Rainbow and Ronnie. And as soon as he mentioned Ronnie, a light bulb went off, and it was like, of course, Ronnie Romero, he'd be perfect. You know, the influences that I was talking about earlier, that, you know, that we grew up on, those classic influences, I think Ronnie is the same. He has that, you can hear the influences in Ronnie's voice, but he's a singer in 2023. And I think that's a perfect pairing for what the band needed. You want someone that's a modern day singer, but lets those influences shine through. And I called him up and we talked, and it went from there. But I just thought it was a perfect idea to get Ronnie on board as a singer. And I think, you know, the more I hear Ronnie sing on these songs on this record, the more I hear Ronnie Romero. And I think Ronnie would agree with that as well. I can hear more of him coming through on the vocals. And it's exciting to think how much more in the future of Ronnie is going to come out. The more we write together, the more songs we create, the more of him is going to come out. It's an interesting thing to think about.
And he has a great performance. I mean, he's a real performer.
He's a performer. He's a great singer. He's a professional. He's just great. You know, he turns up and he sings like an angel. No matter what time it is, what time of day it is, if it's early in the morning or late at night, he'll show up and he'll just sing. There's not many singers that I know that are like that can just turn it on. You know, they don't have to warm up. I haven't seen him warm up anyway. He just turns it on. Rob's the same. Rob just gets up and sings and does it. It's almost like an old school approach. Some people are born with it, and I think Ronnie's one of those guys.
And another thing that's interesting about Elegant Weapons is like that it's a kind of a super group, because we have a lot of person who plays on a greatest bands ever who came up and created a new group. Do you like this label that people like?
I don't mind it. It's one that I wasn't. It's not really important to me. I think it's just the case of I'm lucky enough to have some great friends that I can call up that are legendary musicians. You know, it wasn't the goal of mine to have a super group. It was just I wanted the best people on the record that I could get, and they happen to be friends of mine, and I'm fortunate in that regard, you know. So, you know, I called up Scott and said, Scott, can you play drums on this record? And same thing with Christopher. Christopher is now in the band, and I called him up and said, do you want to be in the band? And I'm just lucky to have friends like that. But and they happen to be super. So I guess it's a super group, but it wasn't my goal to have a quote unquote super group. I just wanted it to be the best it could be, and they happen to be great friends of mine as well.
We can heard on the songs how this special bond applies on the Elegant Weapon sound. It's a great thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, people like Scott and Ronnie, the songs were written before I got those guys on board, you know. So you send them the stuff, and you don't tell them what to do, because you know if you get someone like Scott Travis and ask them to play drums, you're asking them for a reason. You know exactly what they're going to do. So you know, you don't need to ask them or tell them what to do. They know what to do instinctively. They have a sound. They have a finesse. They have, in Scott's case, a groove and a rhythm and a technique that you know. That's why you're asking Scott Travis to play drums on the record. So it's a pleasure, really, to be a part of something like that. They make me sound better, you know, so it's great.
Orchestrated for the setup, banging on we go. Detonations blast, loaded front to back. Stimulation will last, descending through the cracks. Do or die, show no weakness, don't live a lie. Bridges crossed and not burned. Do or die on your own.
Talk about sound better. People, at least the fans and the critics, says that you kind of added some spice things on Judas Priest. I mean, you kind of added something different on Judas.
I think that's a natural thing. I think anyone that's in that position, and you know, anyone that had my position would have done the same thing. I think you have to respect what went before you. You know, Ken was a big part of that band, still is. You know, sonically and part of the legacy, and he was part of it for 40 years. So it's a big legacy. You have to be respectful to that, but also I think you have to be respectful to who you are as a musician as well. Coming into that, you have to respect what Priest stands for, which is, you know, try and be unique, have your own sound, and do what you do. That's what they stood for and stand for. And I think you have to be respectful to that as well. So respect what went before, but also be respectful in what goes forward into the future. So you have to bring a little bit of what you do while being respectful to went before. And I think that's what I've always tried to do. So I think anyone would have done the same thing.
Yeah. And how's your health? I mean, you have a heart problem that everybody was, I mean, worried about. And how's your health?
Well, it's fine, but it was fine before. Now, no, I appreciate you asking, man. It means a lot, man. I'm doing fine. I have to get checkups every 6 months or so to make sure everything's rocking and rolling. But yeah, it was a scary thing. It was one of those things that happens in life and you have to deal with it. Luckily, I got the chance to deal with it. Some people, they're not so lucky. They go down and they don't get up again. So luckily, I kept going. I made it to the hospital. They worked miracle. I shouldn't be alive. I mean, the extent. I mean, we could talk about it for hours, but the extent of the intensity of what happened, I shouldn't be around talking to you. But I'm grateful, very fortunate. The team of surgeons and doctors and nurses and my family, the support system, the fans around the world, my peers in the music industry, they all sent me messages. Everything has been such a great support system. I'm so grateful to be talking to you today about new music and new tours and all that sort of stuff. So I'm a very lucky man and fortunate to be here talking to you today.
And we're very lucky to have you here today also.
Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate that.
And you play on Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You was there.
I was there. Yeah, it was an incredible experience. Really, I offered to not do it, but obviously I wasn't an inductee, so I offered to stand aside and let the band do their thing. But the band were adamant that I was a part of the performance because that was representing Judas Priest in 2023. That's Judas Priest today. So I'm grateful to them for that. But I was just really stoked to be a part of a 3-pronged guitar attack. Judas Priest has always been about 2 guitars. But for that night, it was 3 guitars, and I was a part of it. I was up there with Glenn and KK and myself, and it was great. It was great to play with KK. It was great to meet him. He played great. He looked great. He sounded great, and I thought we looked great together. With the 2 flying V's and everything. It was a great night. So, and there was some great legends in the room that night as well. Aside from Priest, there was Lionel Richie, Annie Lennox, and Dave Stewart. The Edge was there. Duran Duran. Pat Benatar, Neil Giraldo. I mean, it was like a star-studded night, man. It was unbelievable. So it was exciting to be there.
Yeah, and we could see by the transmission, by the broadcasting. And how's Glenn?
Glenn's doing okay. I spoke to Glenn a couple of days ago. He seems to be doing okay. We were talking about the new Priest record and what we're going to do with that and the songs on it and stuff like that and what we were thinking about that. So he seems to be okay. I know Glenn has good days and bad days, as we know. That's the nature of Parkinson's. Some days you have good days and some days they're a bit harder. But Glenn's a fighter. He's a warrior, and he's doing his best with the challenges he faces. So he's an inspiration to us all. Really, he always has been, but now more than ever.
Well, I hope he's doing okay. He's a great guy.
He is indeed.
Since you talk about Judas' new song, new record, what can you spoil about that?
I can't really spoil anything. I think we're at the end of the recording process. I think the last thing that we needed to finish recording was the vocals, and I think I might be mistaken, but I think we've got the vocals finished now. So now we need to mix the record, we need to master it, and then we need to manufacture it. So like the vinyl stuff like we were talking about earlier on, we need to get the actual stuff made, and then put out. So we're not sure exactly when it's going to be put out to the public, but as soon as we do, we'll let you guys know. But it's sounding fantastic, sounding great. We're really excited to let you guys hear it. We have to choose things like track listing and what songs make the record. So it's the final stages of the record now. So it's an exciting time, and yeah, looking forward to unleashing another Priest record onto the world.
Yeah, I'm really excited to wait this. So I have more 3 questions. Is that okay?
Yeah.
You are a part of legacy of Judas Priest, and now you're starting the legacy of Elegant Weapons. So how this experience with Judas can help you with this new experience with Elegant Weapons?
Well, it's such a different thing with Priest. It's such a big machine, and one that's been around for 50 plus years, so there's so many. It's such a different thing when you're starting something from the ground up, but you can take so many lessons from that. I think the main thing really is that we do it for the same reasons. We do it for the love of the music. We do it for the love of performing and playing live and creating, and we love to play live and interacting with the fans. It's still the same for Priest, over 50 years in. So it's great to see that and be influenced by that. There's always a drive to do better. There's always a drive to make a better performance or a better song, a better album, or a better vocal performance, or a better guitar. So, and it's because of the support that the fans have given the band over the last half a century. So I think you can take a lot from that. It's the fans that have put the band there for over 50 years, giving back to them. How do we make it better? How do we make a better performance, a better experience, a better album? And I think taking that mentality, even though it's a new band, keeping that mentality. How do we make a better record with Elegant Weapons next time? How do we make a better performance? How do we give our best for the people that are there, giving us their time to maybe come along the journey with us? I think we can definitely take that and apply that to what we do.
And if you can encapsulate your time with Judas Priest in one song, what song would it be? And of course, if you can encapsulate your new career of Elegant Weapons, which song would be?
Oh man, in one Priest song. I mean, Halls of Valhalla has been a special song for me with Priest. And it's like a journey through the halls of Valhalla with Priest. I'm making this up as I go along, but it seems quite relevant, really. You're in the presence of gods. I don't really know what I'm talking about. It's a song that's connected well with a lot of fans around the world. But the Firepower record's been great. I don't think I can kind of sum up my journey with Priest in one song. It's just an incredible education every day, all the time, And with Elegant Weapons, if I had to contain my experience in one song, I'd say at the moment it's Do or Die. Do or Die is about giving your all and doing it to the best of your ability, no matter what. And I think Priest have been about that, in my experience anyway. So I think that kind of mindset goes with everything that I try and do, giving it your all, give it your best shot. So I'm going to go with Do or Die.
Yeah, it's a great song also.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And for this last question, is a kind of tricky little one, but it's gonna be like, what the youngster Richie Faulkner would say to the Richie Faulkner today, and the Richie Faulkner of 2023 would say to the youngest Richie Faulkner.
Oh man, these are good questions. I think the young me. I don't know what the young me would say, but I know the old me would probably say to the young Richie, learn how to sing. You know, get some singing lessons, because it makes everything a lot easier when you're doing demos and, you know, putting down ideas to then show other people how to do the vocal ideas. I would say definitely learn how to sing. It just makes your life a whole lot easier. And if you put all the time, put some time into, you know, honing that instrument as well as the guitar instrument, you know, I'd definitely say that. And also concentrate on finding your own voice on the instrument as well as your vocal voice, because to me that's been the biggest challenge for me, is to find my voice in the guitar. You know, if someone hears me playing on the guitar, it sounds like Zakk Wylde, Michael Schenker, and Dave Murray. Hopefully one day it sounds like Richie, but you know, that's my challenge. So I'd tell young me, work on your voice, on your, you know, your singing voice, and work on your voice on the instrument. That's what I'll tell them.
That's good. That's good. Richie, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Mauricio, hopefully see you soon. Hopefully we bring the band down to South America, and we see you very soon.